Welcome to Onslow County Today, and you might see we've made some big changes to our set. This is our new Onslow County Today Welcome Center, so to speak, and we're going to be welcoming some wonderful guests. We'll be talking with our county manager, Mr. Jeff Hudson. We'll also speak with Lisa Rayburn from Cooperative Extension, Monique Moore about Building Forever Families. We'll also speak with Melissa Huffman from Cooperative Extension about a Pesticide Disposal Day, and finally with Chris White from the Onslow Albert J. Ellis Airport. We're so glad you're joining us for Onslow County Today. Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and this first segment is a little bittersweet for me because we are welcoming Mr. Jeff Hudson, our county manager, and 16 years ago this was your brainchild to have Onslow County Today as a way to reach our citizens, and now you have a really kind of special message for us, and I'm so glad you're here.
Well, thank you, Lisa. I just wanted to say to the citizens of Onslow County, it's been an absolute privilege and joy serving in county government for 7 years, then at the school system 7 years, and now almost 8 years back as Onslow County manager. And we've come a long way in the last 15 or 16 years, and I just will always treasure that this time, I should say, in my life.
Well, you know, sir, you say that we've come a long way, and I think about when you and I started our careers almost together. I was a little bit before you there, and what we've seen in the last 25, 28 years in what has happened in Onslow County. I don't know that you can sum it up, but what are some thoughts that come to mind when you think about those sometimes very dramatic changes that we've seen?
Well, the thing that's changed, I believe, the most in Onslow County since I was a child here is the growth in urbanization, and everyone would say that probably. I note with interest that there's an advertisement in the Jacksonville Daily News, and a gentleman in selling his business remembers old things in Onslow County, like the Toot and Tell It, or some old part of Court Street or whatever. And my memories go back to when Rhodestown Road was a 2-lane dirt road, and my dad sat me on his lap and taught me how to drive his pickup truck going down Rhodestown Road. And now there are so many houses on either side of it, it's ridiculous. I think about the fact that my 12-year-old son is growing up in this Onslow County, which is so much more urbanized than the one I grew up in. Yet it still reflects some of the same culture, some of the same, I should say, personality. And you actually captured some of that, Lisa, with one of the exhibits you did, Changing Continuity, at the Onslow County Government Center in Burton Park. It talks about how we've always been a people in Onslow County that were very, I suppose, opinionated, and that Onslow County has been this wide mixture of people between Swansboro, Sneads Ferry, Richlands, and yet our culture is that we have always been a very strong-willed group of individuals. I think that carries on today, perhaps in a different way. Back when Onslow was created, we were not a military community, but today, with the infusion of our military and cultures from around the world, I believe that we are still a very strong-willed community. With a tremendous sense of patriotism.
Yes, most definitely.
And I think that bodes very well for the future of Onslow County. Other places might give up. Onslow County will never give up.
I can't tell you how much that captures everything. As a historian, I've read about us for 300 years. You have really succinctly captured who we are. We are a strong people. And yet, Mr. Hudson, don't you think we're in many ways kind of a humble, almost sometimes even a little self-deprecating? We don't hold ourselves out there as the biggest and the boldest, but just hardworking people.
Well, we have, and that's both good and bad. It's you know, it's not good to be prideful. We should have a humble spirit. At the same time, Onslow County needs to realize that we are not a backwoods small county in the political landscape of North Carolina. We're the 11th largest county in the state of North Carolina now. We are looked to by many other communities as a progressive county. And when I say progressive, that implies different things to different people. Some people might say progressive as in, I don't know, California progressive. I don't want any calls from California. but I think progressive in the way that, you know, we're fiscally conservative. We have a AA bond rating. We've made so many infrastructure improvements over the last few years. We have a brand new Albert J. Ellis Airport with tremendous facilities for the traveling public that will enhance our tourism in the community and make our economy more vibrant. We have a new government center. We have new emergency facilities like the 911 telecommunications center, an 800 megahertz emergency radio system. And all of these things cost tremendous amounts of money. We've been able to secure unprecedented amounts of federal grant funding, and we've been able to responsibly use our own tax dollars to build things that people never thought possible. So I believe that we need to maintain our humble attitude, and especially in county government, we need to understand that we are here to serve the public. And I hope that in my career and in your career, or those of any other public servants, we never lose sight of the fact that we are here to serve. You know, this creation of Onslow County Today is meant to serve the public. We are to give information to the public, and I believe that's one of the reasons we started in the first place, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, definitely. You had a vision when you came to us and said, what do you think about and what do we want it to look like? And we wanted it to reflect Onslow County.
Do you remember what it looked like to start with? Onslow County Today?
To begin with, we were in the old county warehouse, and every time the wind blew, every time a helicopter flew over, we had to stop production because the whole building rattled. And so we've come a long way, sir. We have,
and you know, other than just relying on your memory, I've asked staff to prepare a little something, because this is something that Lisa did not know today. The first time that I served with county government, I was deputy county manager, and we created this Onslow County Today. And when I left, I had duplicate copies of VHS tapes from the promo issue of Onslow County Today and the first 3 episodes of Onslow County Today, and I believe our staff has prepared a little something for me to share with you this morning.
You are kidding me,
so
Mr. Hudson.
look at that screen.
Oh my God. Hello and welcome to Onslow County Today. I'm Lisa Whitman-Grice, and I'll be your host for this very special program about Onslow County government and your Onslow County. Onslow County Today features the latest news, information about programs and services, and activities available in Onslow County. We'll have in-depth conversation with the Onslow County Board of Commissioners and Onslow County staff who are working together to provide you with the things that you need here in Onslow County. Following our pilot, all of our programs will be supported by private donations, and we hope to have 1 half-hour program each month to provide you with current information. We've assembled a team from around the county, and we're glad to be able to provide you with this programming. I've been employed with Onslow County for 13 years and an Onslow County native, born and raised here, and share many of the ideas and concerns that you have. We want to welcome you to the first segment of Onslow County Today. The topic of our first discussion will be the newly adopted Onslow County budget, a pivotal and crucial part of all county operations. And joining us today is Chairman Tony Padgett to discuss the budget. Welcome, Chairman Padgett.
Thank you very much.
Tell me a little bit about the experiences that the commissioners have had this year in adopting this budget.
This year being a revow year, where property values are reassessed. We started this budget, and staff started this budget back in November because it was going to be a lengthy budget.
Welcome back to our discussion of the fiscal year 2000-2001 budget. Joining us now is County Manager Ron Lewis and Deputy County Manager Jeff Hudson, who will discuss with us the budget process, the real nuts and bolts of putting the budget all together. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you, Lisa.
Mr. Hudson, Mr. Lewis addressed the reval a little bit, the revaluation. Explain to us really how the reval affects the budget, what you do with the budget at that point.
Well, Lisa, I've been working in local government for about 7 years now. I came on board in Holly Ridge as a town manager in 1993, so this is my first revaluation year since it occurs statutorily every 8 years.
Hello, my name is Jeff Hudson. I'm the Deputy County Manager of Onslow County, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the set of Onslow County Today. Onslow County Today is a program that began in concept several years ago, but it's only come to fruition, I would say, in the last couple of years. And this program has one specific purpose. That's to educate the people of Onslow County about things that are important to them. Whether that is a government program that they're not aware of, like WIC or library services, or if it's a nonprofit agency that can provide a service otherwise that would have been provided for government, like a battered women's shelter. Onslow County Today is here to make a difference through informational means. You know, as we go through this new 21st century, we're becoming more and more aware of the fact that people aren't reading the newspaper a whole lot anymore, or at least they're not reading it as much. In Onslow County, we're growing, we're urbanizing, we're trying to become more and more progressive, but yet at the same time, we're keeping our agricultural heritage. We're playing to a different crowd right now, and government, in some ways, has to change. Government has to reach out to the young people that are coming through our community and aren't aware of a lot of services. One way to do that is through the medium of cable television. In Onslow County, we have two cable television providers, Time Warner Cable and Charter Communications. They have partnered with Onslow County government to produce Onslow County Today. Even the set that you see here that I'm standing on was put together through donations from local area business people, local artists, that have come together realizing that this is a necessity. The building that we're standing in right now is a warehouse, and you'll see that this set isn't all that big. In fact, it's only about 20 feet wide. The set is made of some OSB board, and inside this warehouse we've just taken a little corner and we've placed Onslow County government on television. And we've done that because we realize government has to be progressive. We have to reach out, and we have to get our message across. After all, counties in North Carolina are the frontline providers of service. A lot of people don't have anyone else that they can turn to, but they know that the county commissioner lives just down the street. And the county manager, maybe he plays golf the same place I do, or goes to my church, or I see him down at that mom and pop's deli a whole lot, eating those country ham and eggs, and I feel like I can go up to him. Maybe, perhaps, because I've seen him on Channel 4 or Channel 10 cable television. So, the message of Onslow County Today is that government is going to use all the resources available to us to make lives better for our citizens in a progressive, urbanizing community. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the show that follows. So, Lisa.
Well, very rarely am I caught off guard. Very rarely am I surprised. So, what a gift. Thank you, sir, for that. And thank you for this. Thank you for what you've done for Onslow County. When you mentioned that it is progressive, when you mentioned that it is here as a public servant, and what you left out was visionary. And I think all those things capture you, sir. And you carry that spirit within you, and you brought that spirit to us. And we thank you for your service.
Well, thank you.
It has been a pleasure to serve with you.
And you as well. Thanks.
Well, welcome back to Onslow County today. And now we have one of our favorite friends, Miss Lisa Rayburn, joining us from Onslow County Cooperative Extension. Lisa, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Always great to be here.
Now, as we're entering into the fall, our gardens are going a little bit dormant. We're mostly just concerned with raking leaves, but you want people to be thinking already about springtime.
Absolutely.
And you have your Master Gardeners program coming up. It's way in the future, but there's a reason you're here today, and that's to get people knowing about it and aware so that they'll get involved.
Right. So the Master Gardener Volunteer Program does involve an application process. And so we're here with you in November because we're trying to get people to know that the applications are available, and now is the time to go ahead and come by the Extension office, pick up an application, fill it out, and that way you can be prepared to join us when our class starts in February.
So before we all get caught up in holiday festivities, let's go ahead and get that taken care of, and then you don't have to worry about it, right?
Right. And you know, as we get into the holidays, this is a time of year when a lot of us are looking at how can we give back to the community? What are things that we can be doing? And for people who both love gardening and want to give back to the community, becoming a Master Gardener volunteer is a great way to do that.
Well, so let's kind of describe that for our viewers, because as you say, the Master Gardener program is about service. You're getting a lot of information, but it's not really just for you, it's for you to share.
Right. So we tell Master Gardeners that if you want to both become a better gardener and give back to your community, then the Master Gardener Volunteer Program is a great program for you. At the Extension office, we offer lots of classes for people who just want to be better gardeners for themselves. But the Master Gardener Volunteer Program is specifically designed to help us share research-based gardening information within our community. And so that's research-based information that's specific here to Onslow County. So if you go on the internet or read a gardening magazine, you may find good information, but it may not be research-based, or it may not be appropriate for our little part of the world here in Onslow County. So that's what we focus on.
Now, you mentioned the research-based and the fact that you can pick up gardening magazines all day long and say, oh, well, zone 3, I'm only supposed to plant whatever. But you're dealing with folks, if we're calling the Cooperative Extension Office and reaching out to one of your Master Gardeners, we're dealing with people who know really and truly the soils. It might say I can grow rhododendron, but can I really grow a rhododendron in eastern North Carolina? So they're the folks who know it up close and personal, so to speak.
Right. So what would be maybe an appropriate choice in Washington or Oregon or in New York or Arizona may not be the same right choice for coastal North Carolina.
Now, when folks sign up for the Master Gardener program, I want to go back to the fact that you said it's an application. And so folks might want to know a little bit more about what you'll need to know about them, how they apply, if there's a fee associated with it, and then what does the course look like?
Right. And so the reason we have an application process is because we can only teach a class that's so big. We do field trips, we do hands-on activities. So once you get past a certain number of people, it's hard to give the sort of individualized attention that you would like to during those activities. So that's why we take applications. And people don't have to be great gardeners to be Master Gardener volunteers. That's what I tell people. If you are excited about learning and about sharing, then we can teach you the part about the gardening. So the most important thing is kind of that attitude that you bring to it, that you want to learn and that you want to give back. There is a cost associated with the class. Most of that cost is actually tied up in our Master Gardener Volunteer Manual. And it's a pretty comprehensive manual that you get along with coming to the class, and it's your reference. It's kind of your guidebook that you can check back in with both during the class and when the class is over. It has a lot of great information and troubleshooting pages in it.
Well, and just considering by sheer weight alone, I think they're getting their money's worth.
Right. So a lot of information in there.
Now, we've got our manual, we've applied, we've paid our fee, and then we get to go to class. classes offered once a week, twice a week? When are the classes offered?
Twice a week. So
Okay.
we meet Monday and Wednesday mornings,
Okay.
and then we have a couple of classes during the session that will be all-day classes because they'll involve a field trip. So we'll be going to perhaps a state lab or an arboretum or something that's going to take us outside of those normal class ranges. But you'll get all that information your first day in class.
Okay, so then you'll have kind of your syllabus together. So we need to apply and apply early. Have our fee, we get our great manual, we take our class all spring, and then it's time to give back a little bit. And so what does volunteering look like? Some time in the lab, some time to do research at the plant lab there. Other activities that your Master Gardeners are involved in?
Right, so our Master Gardener volunteers are involved in an entire range of activities. Now what we ask is in the first year that Master Gardeners volunteer 40 hours of service,
Okay.
and that they maintain 20 hours of service in subsequent years if they wish to maintain their active Master Gardener volunteer status.
Okay.
Now we have lots of people that volunteer a lot more hours than that because they enjoy what they're doing. But they're involved in a lot of different projects. We have community outreach, so a group of Master Gardeners that goes to public events, helps share information, helps answer people's gardening questions while they're at those community events. If it's a question that they can't answer, it's not a big deal because they write down all of the client's information on a hot sheet and they bring it back to the office, and then we'll research it and call that client back with the right information. We work our plant clinic, which is at the Onslow County Cooperative Extension office, and we're open 5 days a week there, Monday through Friday. The Master Gardeners are in the plant clinic from 9 until noon and 1 until 4, answering people's questions as they either call on the phone or walk in the door.
All right, so busy, 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 but awesome information. I know because I've had to call that plant clinic hotline
Right.
and say, hey, what's going on with my,
Right, what's the
crepe
best
myrtle?
time?
Oh, you and I have had a lot of crepe myrtle conversations. We've done that. You've got this wonderful Master Gardener program, and people are going to be involved with it. And when they go out and see where you host it, I think they're going to want to be involved even more. Tell us a little bit, give us a sneak peek, Lisa, about what kind of changes we're seeing in the landscape out at Cooperative Extension.
Yes, so we do those plant clinics, we do those Ask a Master Gardener booths, but a lot of our work is hands-on, and one of the big hands-on projects that the Master Gardener volunteers are involved in right now is the Discovery Gardens. And this really grew out of the Master Gardeners seeing that there was a need to provide a hands-on aspect to that gardening education, because it's great for you to come in and say, well, what do I do about my crepe myrtle, or what would be a good plant to put in this location? But if we just tell you or maybe give you a handout with some really good pictures, you're only going to learn so much. So the Master Gardeners saw that there was a need to have a garden close enough to the office that they could walk a client back out those plant clinic doors and say, hey, here's that plant that we were talking about. Or, hey, this is where we made the pruning cut on this tree, and you can see how it's healing because of where we made that cut. So we're in the process of developing a 4-acre teaching garden out at the Extension office. And that garden includes a lot of different areas, a lot of different smaller gardens within the garden that illustrate different things. So we have space in the garden for the seniors to have a gaming area. We have an area for heritage plants, the sort of plants that would have been passed along from your grandmother to your mother in gardens in our area, a pollinator garden, a raised bed vegetable garden, a wildlife garden, and even a children's farm garden.
So even though we're in the midst of fall, we're going to be in some holiday hubbub, as we get through the winter, we're going to make another visit. And I hope that we're going to get to be able to get out and not just visit with you, but maybe get a little bit of time in that garden, because it is just going to be extraordinary. And all of it really is due to these wonderful Master Gardeners.
Absolutely. Without the Master Gardener volunteers, we couldn't do what we do.
So for all of our folks who want to be Master Gardeners, Lisa, we're going to close out. Just let us know, how can we reach you? The best possible telephone number, and of course we're going to have your website available for folks to go to as well. So if you'll just give us your number there at Cooperative Extension.
Right, they can call the Onslow County Cooperative Extension Office at 910-455-5873.
Thank you, Lisa. We'll get through the fall, the winter, and we'll see you in the spring.
Awesome, thank you.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today. And always we want to remember that November is Adoption Awareness Month. And there is no better person to tell us about it than Monique Moore from Onslow County DSS. Monique, welcome to Onslow County Today.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, every November, this is something that is top of mind in our community. And we are so glad that you're here to really share it with us.
Yes.
So we want to talk about why you're here for November for Adoption Awareness Month. But we also want to talk about your families and the heart that goes into building families here in Onslow County.
Yes.
So first and foremost, Monique, we want to get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
Tell us exactly what your position is with the county and how long you've been with us.
Well, I've been with the county for 13 years now.
Wow.
And I supervise foster care and adoptions.
Okay. And we know, we hear the numbers about how many children are in foster care and are in need of foster families here in the county. And it's just extraordinary, really.
It absolutely is. At this point, our agency has over 250 children in foster care, and they are spread out. They are from one end of the state to the other end of the state. So it's very difficult for children to be able to see their families when they're so far away.
And I know that really for you all, you always try first and foremost for family placements or as close as possible, but it really, sometimes you have no other choice.
Absolutely. Family is first. But when that's not an option for us, then we do have to seek other resources like foster care.
And when we move beyond foster care, you also have an opportunity to build families, to place those families in a forever home, in a permanent home.
Yes.
And so we want to talk about how one could become an adoptive family, and then the type of support that you all provide. And so first and foremost, for families in our audience who are looking and thinking, you know, adoption has always been something that's been on my heart, that we want to do. How do we get started in the process?
Well, we're a foster to adopt county, which means that you have to be a foster parent before you can actually adopt, other than kinship placement. So what we do is you have to go through a 10-session class, which we call MAP. It's Model Approach to Parenting and Partnerships. And you go through that class, you also get CPR, you also get first aid, you also get fire department checks on your home. So it's a series of different things that you go through to get licensed as a foster parent. And once you actually start fostering and get that experience under your belt, and there is a child that is free for adoption, then we look at you as a potential placement option for that child.
You know, I love one of the things that you have in your materials that you have is, and gracious knows I am not, you do not have to be a perfect person.
You absolutely do not.
To be a parent.
You absolutely do not. Because as parents, we learn. It's trial and error sometimes, and so that's okay. We understand that as an agency, we don't expect you to be perfect. We expect that you're going to meet the needs of the child, you're going to love them, you're going to care for them, you're going to nourish them, you're going to give them everything that they need and more. But you don't have to be a perfect person or a perfect parent.
Now, we've gone through the fostering process, the educational steps, and then we begin the application process.
Yes.
Talk about how you and your team work with those families to make those connections.
So generally, adoption is a process, and it's absolutely a process, and you'll talk to some people and they'll say, oh, it took us years to get to that point. And it does, because as an agency, we have to do our due diligence. We have to work with the family, and we have to make sure that this is not truly an option for them to go back to their biological home. And so when we do that, we talk to families about, is this something you want forever? Are you willing for this child to be in your home forever? Because every child deserves a forever family. Every child does. And there's going to be trials and tribulations. There are going to be absolute challenges along the way. But is this something that you're truly willing to commit your life to? And so adoption, in essence, is kind of like the birth of a baby. It is the beginning. It is it's celebratory.
You know, I have a dear friend who has whose daughter was adopted when she was about 5 years old, and to have watched this young woman now blossom, and what a dear family they are.
Oh, yes.
And it defies description. Talk a little bit about how your adoptive families kind of are like just a little bit of everything. They're just a wonderful mix as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. It doesn't matter where you come from. It really doesn't matter where you are. As long as your heart is in the right place and you're willing and able to do what needs to be done for that child. We don't care what you look like. We just want to know that you're going to be able and willing to care for a little girl or a little boy. And so we look at that. That's what we look at first.
You look at them as the future family that they could be.
Absolutely.
Now, when we think about the children that may be in need of that forever home, we're also just not talking about infants or toddlers.
No.
These children run the ages of what?
Up to 17 or 18.
17 or 18.
It's important for people to know that teenagers want to be adopted too.
Oh my goodness.
They absolutely do, and they're willing and able to do that. They want that. They want that connection. They want that forever family. They want to know that when they go to college, they have a place to come back home to. They have somebody to support them. And so we want people to realize that it's not only babies and toddlers and little people that need a forever family. It is absolutely our teenage population as well. And they deserve it just as much as an infant does. They deserve it.
Now, after you have made that family connection, you've built that family, you also just don't say, well, we'll see you later.
No.
There's always a support system that it continues.
Absolutely, absolutely. As an agency, we continue to monitor that until the finalization of the adoption. But we also connect them with post-adoption services. And that kind of stays in their life. It lingers if they need anything, if there's some type of issue that they can't quite navigate themselves, and they can contact that connection, and that helps them as well. As an agency, we're always there for our families. So we're never going to turn them down. We're always going to try to seek out services for them as well, even after the finalization of adoption.
You know, that's what every family needs is,
yes.
You know, when we say it takes a village.
It absolutely does.
It absolutely does. Monique, when we are reaching our audience and they're thinking, I think, you know, there's something that she's saying there that's speaking to me. How can they reach you, and how can they get in touch with your division there at DSS to learn more?
Our phone number is 910-989-0230. And
you also plan special events or have open house sometimes with adoption awareness. Do you have anything on the scheduled for this year, or that people can learn more beyond just calling you?
November the 5th, we're going to be at Hugh McCray Park in Wilmington.
Okay.
And that's our Southeastern Adoption Consortium group, and we're just kind of putting that event on. It's going to be fun for children. They're going to have bouncy houses and all kinds of face paintings and food, and it's just going to be a great time to kind of walk around, talk to the different agencies that can provide foster care and adoption services to you, and just kind of see. A lot of times we actually have children there that are waiting adoption. I mean, they're just kind of mingling around as well, so you won't know who they are, but they actually will be there as well. So.
You know, the one thing I always like to ask when you all join us for this is what it means to you when you've seen that family come together. And can you share that with us just a little bit, especially, you know, in this holiday season when we're all about family and togetherness.
Yes.
Talk about what it means when you bring that family together.
It's truly unspeakable. That feeling, you cannot describe it. It is so humbling. It is such an experience that for somebody to say, this is my forever family, and they've been through so much and so much trauma, but this family is willing and able to care for them forever, regardless of what they go through. So it's such an experience that it's really hard to describe in words, because it's just that heart melting. You know, it is absolutely, we do this. as an agency, we can do this. As a community, we do this. We find forever homes for children because they absolutely deserve it.
Well, Monique, thank you. Thank you to your team for what they do, and our very best wishes as you build these families for these children in Onslow County.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and joining us is a new guest, Melissa Huffman from Onslow County Cooperative Extension. Melissa, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, Melissa, you and I have worked together for years on different projects, and you wanted to join us today to talk about pesticide disposal, and you all are hosting a very special day for folks who may have pesticides that need to be gone.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, so on November 8th at the Onslow County Extension Office, we're going to be hosting a pesticide disposal day in cooperation with the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. This is a non-regulatory, cost-free event, so folks that have any unwanted old banned pesticides that maybe they're finding in their garage or they're emptying out an old storage barn, they need to get rid of them. They are more than welcome to bring them to us, and we will properly dispose of them.
Now, do they need to be, when they bring them to you, do they need to be in any kind of particular kind of container? Is there anything, any regulations or specifications for when they bring them over to the Extension office?
If they can keep them in the original container, that would be ideal. We know that's not always possible. Some of the old pesticides may be in bags and things like that. If they have any torn bags, we just ask that they put it in a plastic container or in a trash bag, a heavy-duty trash bag. We would like for it to have the original label on it. If they come across a product and they don't know what it is, we ask that they call us at the Extension office before the event so we can kind of guide and direct them in what they need to do.
Melissa, you know, when we first spoke about this and wanting to come over, one of the things that we talked about is that people haven't always been as mindful about disposing of pesticides and maybe put them in places they shouldn't put them. For folks who think, oh, I can just get rid of that, I can just throw that away, tell us what we can't do.
You cannot. You cannot store it or pour it down a drain. Don't apply any products that are not on the label to an off-site location. The biggest thing, don't put it down drains, anything like that that could potentially get into our groundwater systems.
Don't just say, oh, well, I've got this big empty field beside the house, or I've got, you know, there's a creek here.
Please do not do that.
Okay.
It is illegal. Of course, if you apply any pesticides off the label, it's going to cause more damage than it is what they might think is a good thing. If you have extra pesticides, maybe you're wanting to spray your yard and you have extra product, if you cannot get rid of it on a labeled site, get up with your neighbor and ask them if they want it. Don't spray it for them, but ask them if they want it and they'd like to spray it. So don't just pour out any extra or over apply any products.
And you know, sometimes, you know, maybe we bought a new house and it's there in, like you said, in the garage, in the outbuilding, and we didn't really know it was there. So the best thing to do?
So the best thing in that case is to give us a call at the Extension office. One of the great things that the Department of Ag does with their pesticide disposal program is they will come to Onslow County every 2 years, but they've got it schedule set so that they will come to a surrounding county every 6 to 8 months.
Okay, very good.
So something that we do in Onslow County is I will be able to collect those products, or I'll start a list and call them and say, hey, if you've got the products, you know, bring them by my office on this date, and then I'll safely transport them to the next county.
Fantastic. So again, let's give folks the dates, and also let's give them your exact address. A lot of folks may know where Cooperative Extension is in the County Multipurpose Complex, but we might have folks new to the area. So first the dates, the times, and then the location.
Okay, so the date is going to be Election Day, November 8th.
Okay.
The time is going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay.
at the Onslow Extension office, and the address is 4024 Richlands Highway, and that's Jacksonville.
Okay, and if they've got any questions, they can certainly give you a call.
Please give me a call.
All right. Well, Melissa Huffman, thank you.
Thank you.
And we look forward to having you join us for future segments.
Thank you very much for having me.
Over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. or Chris White can get us there faster.
A whole lot faster.
Chris, we're so glad you're joining us from the Onslow Albert J. Ellis Airport. Thank you, and you're going to give us some trips to getting to Grandma's house a little faster this holiday season.
Absolutely.
So, what do we need to do?
We need to book our tickets now if you already haven't.
Okay.
The flights tend to fill up. But we do have a whole lot more seats, and Delta's even bringing in bigger airplanes now.
Awesome.
So we need to pack smart. We'll talk more about that in a minute, and just plan to relax. Arrive a little early so that you have a leisurely trip rather than a stress trip.
I think that you've hit the nail on the head. You need to plan. This is not the scene from Home Alone where we're running down the tarmac and missing a kid, right?
That's right.
We're planning, we're getting there early, we've got all of our ducks in a row, and then you're going to get us there with just ease and relaxation.
That's right. The whole idea is that we want a stress-free trip.
Okay.
So if you plan ahead, if you book your ticket, you get a good fare, you get a good seats, good flights, and if you pack smart and don't overpack, pack for where you're going as well. The weather can be brutal sometimes during the winter, and be prepared for the unexpected. Be sure you pack snacks if you're traveling with kids, and that's always the challenge is snacks, electronics. A lot of the planes nowadays have charging. You can charge right on the airplane, charge your devices, and an onboard entertainment. So it makes the trip a lot more enjoyable.
So, good plan, bring what we need, get there a little bit early. But the great thing about flying through Albert J. Ellis is the fact that you have a team there between the airlines and your staff and your volunteers at the USO who are there to make traveling a pleasure.
Well, if you haven't been out to the new Albert J. Ellis Airport since we reopened, or we built a new terminal building, which opened last August, you certainly should come out and visit. Even if you're not traveling, you can come out and visit and ride the escalator. But we have a wonderful team with the airlines. Delta and American Airlines both serve Ellis Airport. And we work with the TSA. We have great volunteers with the USO. A lot of new facilities. Honey Baked Ham is located out there, so you get a bite to eat when you come out. It's just a wonderful experience, we believe. We get great reviews from our passengers, and they seem to be very pleased with the facilities.
And not long ago, I understand you even did an art opening.
We do. We have an Art in the Airport program. We work with Onslow County School Systems, and we hope to expand that in the future. We've done performance arts out there before, and we have a great display where the kids did their interpretation of the word flight. So you have everything from feathers to airplanes, and some of the students made travel posters, which are just outstanding. And then down on the first floor, we have an exhibit called Sky, which has about 70 panels that were made by high school students, and their interpretation of the word sky all weave together into one big sculpture. It's very neat.
Well, you know, I think that what you were saying earlier is, even if you're not going anywhere, you need to go out and see just how beautiful and modern, and yet how comfortably the new terminal just fits into the landscape. Just to make a trip out there. Do you all host field trips or groups with daycare centers or anything of that nature?
We do periodically do tours, group tours out at the airport. They start out at the fire department. The fire department gives them a little briefing, and they're kind of tailored to the age groups.
Okay.
And you're welcome to contact the airport for more information about that. And then we take them through the terminal building, and if there's an aircraft available, sometimes they let them see the aircraft, and you get to see the small aircraft where they learn to fly and things like that too.
That is so cool. Now, your terminal is not the only thing new. You have kind of a new virtual experience at the airport, and because you have recently had some big changes to your website. Tell us about that.
We just updated our website, which is www.flyOAJ.com, and we added a booking engine. And the unique thing is it has two different booking engines, one for civilians, essentially, and one for military personnel. And the unique thing about the military personnel is it allows them access to to fairs that they wouldn't normally have access to. There's also live flight information on there. So as you're going to pick up Grandma at the airport, you can see if her flight's on time and when it'll be arriving. And that's all live right on the website. And there's a mobile version of the website as well. So,
well, very good. So, new terminal, great new website, beautiful interaction with the community and with your art displays. And then finally, we want to talk a little bit more about what you said about Pack Smart, because we're planning our trips, we're booking, we're using your website, and we're finding all that out. And then just some basic reminders, because we all know that flying is not what it used to be, where we've made big changes as to what we can carry on planes, and that's been something we've been dealing with for many years. But we always want to remind people, because sometimes we just forget and we don't always know what we can't bring on board.
That's right, and that list is constantly changing, and the best way to do it is to check on your airline's website and also check tsa.gov to see what the list of prohibited items are. They just added the Samsung Note 4 recently to the list because of the batteries. The key is to pack light. Don't pack more than you need to, and don't pack important things in your checked luggage.
Okay.
Such as keys, medicine, travel documents. It's surprising how often that happens, because sometimes the bags can get delayed. When there are more bags than what the airplane can handle, the airline may have to send them on the next flight. And they'll deliver them to you when they get there. But you want to pack such that you don't have to drag heavy bags through the airport. So you don't want to carry on extremely heavy stuff. Only carry what you need to carry. Pack light. A lot of people you'll see will bring big heavy bags, and the airlines will charge you extra for very heavy luggage, so you want to avoid that as well. You are allowed, everyone's familiar with the 3-1-1 liquids rule. You can't take more than 1 quart-sized bag full of 3-ounce liquids. There are some exceptions to that. For example, if you're traveling with a child, you can bring juice or formula that exceeds that 3-ounce limit. All those details are on the TSA's website. So be educated. Be educated.
So plan, check out the website, look at the TSA website as well to see a list of what you can and cannot bring. And one thing that I saw some parents actually surprised at not long ago when I was in the airport is they forgot the car seat.
Yes, you can actually, the airlines do not charge you to check a car seat. You can bring a car seat to the airport. When we travel with our children, we pack them in like a duffel type bag to protect them, and the airlines don't charge you to check that, so you can bring that along with you to your destination. Above all, enjoy the journey. It can be an adventure. I know my kids absolutely love traveling. They love riding on the airplane, love the attention from the flight attendants, love seeing new cities, and airports are becoming more and more like destinations. I was in Atlanta recently, and they have done a lot with artwork in the airport there, and it's beautiful.
So, over the river and through the woods is an okay plan, but it's better to fly, and it's better to fly through OAJ?
Absolutely. Fly OAJ as often as you can.
All right. Well, Chris White, thank you as always. Thank you for the great tips, and we'll always remember.
Fly OAJ.
Awesome. Well, it's very rarely that I'm taken off guard, but I have to say a very special thank you to our county manager, Mr. Jeff Hudson, for sharing that really cool and fun scene from when he and I began this show 16 years ago. And we also want to say a very special thank you to Mr. Hudson for all of his service, for what he has done for our community, for what he has done for our staff here in the county, and for what he will continue to do in his next endeavors. So again, thank you, Mr. Hudson, for everything. We also want to thank our other guests, Lisa Rayburn, Melissa Huffman, Monique Moore, and Chris White for joining us for Onslow County Today. We are so glad that you joined us as well, and we remind you as always to get out and explore your Onslow County today.